If you're like me, you probably read the title of this video and said, wow, that's some clickbait. How does somebody accidentally do a challenge run? And you'd be partially correct, but let me explain and maybe it'll make some more sense. So before we go any further into this video, I just want to make a few things clear. This is going to be a very informal, non-scripted sort of thing. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time editing and correcting any kind of mistakes I make when I'm recording. This is pretty different from my normal type of content, so, you know, don't feel obligated to watch this video. I'm not really expecting anybody to watch this video. I don't know why I'm posting this. So I recently did a level 1 challenge run on Remnant 2, and if you haven't already, you should definitely watch that video. It's a lot better than this one. But while I was making that video, there was a part where I wanted to compare the level 1 soul run of Dark Souls to the level 1 run of Remnant. And I thought to myself, well, it'd be good to have some footage for this so I can do a visual comparison. So I fired up Dark Souls Remastered and said to myself I was going to play up until 1 or 2 bosses of the game and then upgrade my weapon a few times, and then, yeah, that should be enough footage. So at first I did exactly that. I picked the Pyromancer as my starting class. I went with the black firebombs because it would be the fastest way to get through the asylum, I figured. I ran through Undead Burg with surprising efficiency. I picked up the Gold Pine Resin as I wanted to demonstrate how you can buff your weapon to make bosses easier. And then I beat the Taurus Demon with just a few swings of my axe. And finally made it to Andre to upgrade my weapon a few times and thought, hey, that was kind of easy. I then convinced myself to go beat the gargoyles because they're like the real first boss of the game. So I made my way up to their boss room and then promptly died because the axe I had was absolute garbage and couldn't hit the frickin' gargoyles. But 2 more attempts later and I defeated them and rang the first bell. Now at this point I had more than enough footage and I should have stopped. But with some weird logic, I managed to convince myself, hey, I've already rang 1 Bell of Awakening, I'm pretty much done with the game. So I decided I might as well finish the run and do it naked just for added challenge, I guess. Do you kind of see where this is going now? I had no plan for this run at all, like up until maybe getting to Andre. I like all the Souls games quite a bit. I've played them a lot, especially Dark Souls 1 and 3, but I've never done any kind of challenge runs on them, and I'm certainly not any kind of pro Dark Souls gamer or anything of the sort. I didn't use any guides, I didn't watch any videos in preparation for this, although I had seen a few level 1 runs over the years, so I kind of vaguely know what's good for these runs. But yeah, other than that, I was kind of just going cold turkey on this, and I just wanted to see, you know, how far I could go, if I could beat the game, and if I could, you know. Level 1 runs are these kind of things that, you know, I thought only pro gamers could do. And while I do play a lot of games, I'm definitely not a pro gamer, you know, I'm not a streamer, I've barely got any presence on YouTube. Anyway, so after killing the gargoyles, I wanted to go get the wood grain ring. But of course, I need the 20,000 souls to actually get through the door, or I guess I could take the long way around, but I'd rather not do that. I do have a lot of souls thanks to not being able to buy anything, really, so I just basically had to go kill this Titanite demon thing, which, by the way, this enemy is probably the worst enemy in the game, at least the worst non-boss enemy. Holy shit, this thing has the worst hitboxes. I have a lot of footage of me just getting hit by, like, nothing, or just by the boss making a gentle movement towards me. I don't know what the hell they were thinking when they made this enemy. I'm very glad it never came back in the future games. So eventually, after killing this guy, I make it down to the Hydra. But first, I make sure to pick up the Grass Crest Shield for that extra stamina boost and a little bit more blocking power than what I already have. I then spend a really long time trying to kill the Hydra because my axe just kind of sucks and it doesn't really hit the Hydra very well with this weird swing it does. Eventually, I have to use my fireballs to finish off the Hydra because of the pattern that the head's coming out. I just can't hit it with my axe in time. But once I kill it, I head back to Andre and pick up the crest and immediately join the Cat Covenant, which spawns the ninja that has the ring I want. So I kick him off a cliff and quit out so that his items respawn. I grab the ring and get the hell out of there. Now, since I'm already in the neighborhood, I just decided to go fight 𝗟𝐿, I guess. I remember 𝗟𝐿 being a fairly easy boss, and I didn't think I needed much preparation for this boss. And I was mostly right. With the wood grain ring and the grass crest shield, I was able to close the distance pretty easily and stay underneath her. So yeah, it took me a while, and I did have a pretty close call at the end, running out of flasks, but I did take her down on my first try. At this point though, I'm just absolutely tired of this shitty axe. I don't know why the swing pattern on this axe is so bad. It misses nearly as often as it hits. So I decided to go to the undead merchant to see what he had for sale, and I remembered he's got the reinforced club. I have used the reinforced club in the past. I like bleed weapons in these games. I like the bandit knife as well for this reason, but I can't really use the bandit knife in this run, I don't think. I don't know. I didn't go looking for it. I don't even know where it's at. What matters is I picked up this club and I upgraded it, and I pretty much used it for the rest of the game. So I thought I would take a victory lap and go kill the moonlight butterfly, typically one of the easiest bosses in the game, at least for me. But the butterfly absolutely bodied me for a couple of reasons. Reason number one being that my shield has absolutely garbage magic defense, so I couldn't really block her attacks. And also my club still really wasn't doing a lot of damage, so I couldn't like one cycle or even two cycle the butterfly reliably. At this point, I'm starting to sweat about the run as a whole. I know 𝗟𝐿 was pretty easy, but the butterfly kicking my ass kind of made me realize that being level 1 was going to be a challenge. It takes me 4 tries to kill the butterfly, mostly because I got greedy with these fireballs, but I did eventually take her down, and I got the Divine Ember, which will come in handy later on, much later on. I then made my way to the Capra Demon boss fight. This is another boss that I typically find to be really easy, at least once you get past that very first opening where the dogs and him, they'll jump at you. So I got past them and I ran up the stairs and then found this problem where I could not hit the dogs, and the dogs would still do pretty significant damage and even bleed me through my shield block. I have a couple close calls here, but eventually I find this position on the stairs where I'm actually able to hit the dogs and turn this fight into a 1v1 against Capra. With my wood grain ring, I'm able to very easily dodge his attacks and chisel him down slowly but surely with my crappy club. So I'm going to jump ahead now to the Gaping Dragon fight. This fight was pretty easy, you know, just bait out his attacks and then hit him in the head. I did go for his tail a few times too, hoping to cut it off, but the club just wasn't strong enough or something. I couldn't get the tail to fall off, so not that it really mattered, I can't use the axe anyways. But yeah, Gaping Dragon went down on the first try, pretty easy. Now, it's been a while since I played either the original Dark Souls or Dark Souls Remastered, and what I could remember was definitely more of the earlier parts of the game, you know, like Undeadburg and stuff. So when I got to the upper parts of Blighttown, I actually could not find the bonfire. I ran past it twice and died to these guys. I don't know what these guys are called. I did eventually find it, and I made my way down to the bottom pretty easily at that point and lit the bonfire down there. So it was time to fight 𝗟𝐿𝐿, and in the past, 𝗟𝐿𝐿 has been a pretty, I don't want to say a challenging fight, but a fight I actually had to pay attention to. However, with the wood grain ring and the grass crest shield, I was very easily able to do circles around her. Although my damage was very poor, she was actually taking bleed damage, which was good. So after a few minutes of persistence, she did go down, and I finally rang the second bell of awakening. While I was here, I decided to go quickly kill Ceaseless Discharge, since that's basically a free boss. When he did his jump attack, I somehow got stuck inside his hand, but it didn't kill me, so that's cool, and kind of looks funny. But yeah, I killed him and he went down. At this point, I'm really concerned with how bad my club is performing, so I decided to use my Plentiful Souls to upgrade my Pyromancy Flame. I get it up to plus 12 and pick up a few spells, and call it good. At this point, I decided to head back to the Asylum so I could clean up the Stray Demon and pick up the doll to access the Painted World. The Stray Demon goes down much easier than I was expecting, although he is a tanky boy and it takes quite a few hits to bring him down. I did remember to pick up the Painted Doll, but I forgot to actually go to the world and challenge Priscilla. So yeah, I didn't fight Priscilla in this run. I then make my way through Sen's Fortress and talk to this guy. I buy the large Titanite shards to get a little bit more damage out of my club. And then I fight the Iron Golem, which is, yeah, the first attempt, not so great. I don't know what his arena is made out of, but I think it's got ice, because I just slide right off and die. On my second attempt, I get in there with my Pyromancy and knock him down pretty fast. I don't actually knock him off the cliff, but he kind of just stands there, and I'm able to just roast his nuts with fire, so that's cool. And now I'm going to jump way ahead to an Orlando and the Ornstein and Smough boss fight. Now, of course, this is the boss fight that's either going to make or break this run, more or less. And it kind of broke me a little bit. Now, I remembered this fight being hard, and how could it not be? It's a 2v1. But what I didn't remember is how fucking janky this fight is. Ornstein would get caught on Smough and just kind of teleport around sometimes, and then there's this one time where Smough just pushes Ornstein into me, and then Ornstein insta-kills me. This was the first fight of the run where I really died a lot. Now, when it comes to boss fights, I enjoy challenging boss fights. I did a whole Losing is Fun series on Remnant 2, where I beat every boss in the game on the hardest difficulty with a fresh character and basically set up to die in one hit. That was really challenging, but it was also really fun and really rewarding when I overcame the boss. What isn't fun and isn't rewarding is having to do the run back to the boss every goddamn time Ornstein teleports over to me and kills me. The thing about doing a level 1 run is it really puts the mechanics of the game to the test. Normally, if the game is janky, I can just get more health or get more damage and just find ways to just kind of, you know, deal with it. But on a level 1 run, I have no choice but to just get good at the boss, if that's even an option. And in this case, it wasn't really even an option. It was just hope I don't die. I eventually got into this pattern where I would just wait for Ornstein to give me an opening and then try to hit him with the fireball and hope he doesn't counterattack me right away. After enough tries, I eventually got Ornstein down, and it was just 1v1 with Smough. And at that point, the fight was pretty much over. I just rolled underneath his jumps, hit him in the ass, and eventually he went down, no problem. So I get the Lord Soul, and at this point, I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to keep going? This run is actually causing me to question whether or not I truly like Dark Souls. But using the same logic that got me here in the first place, I reasoned to myself, hey, I already have the Lord Vessel, that's just 4 more bosses plus Gwyn, and the game's over. So I go and max out my Pyromancy Flame and pick up some more spells, and then I first head down to New Londo to challenge the Four Kings. But before entering the boss room, I hesitate for a moment because I could have sworn there's like a shortcut or something I should have had by now. And the Dark Wraith just instantly kills me. So I think to myself, fuck that, I'm not doing that run back, not yet. I instead head down to the Demon Ruins where I fight the Demon Fire Sage, and it's a pretty similar boss fight to the Stray Demon. He gets into this loop where he just starts jumping, and I hit him, and then he dies. The Centipede Demon's a little more challenging. He does a lot of damage, and he has some kind of weird hitboxes. I eventually cut off his tail, and then club him in the ass a little bit, and he goes down. So after a lot of running past everything, we finally make it to the Bed of Chaos. And oh boy, I was not looking forward to this fight. The Bed of Chaos fucking sucks on a normal day. But if she just breathes on me, I'm pretty much dead. There's like nothing I can do to stay alive besides some perfect dodges. And then of course the run back also sucks because the closest bonfire is across a lake of lava, and like a solid 2-minute jog assuming nothing hits me on the way. It takes me like 10 tries, but eventually I get lucky enough to dodge her swings, and then get up there and finish her off. I know there's like a way to use firebombs or something to make this boss easy, but I really didn't want to look anything up. I wanted to mostly just use my own knowledge and experience to do this run, just to see if I could. So yeah, that's my reason, and I'm sticking to it. So with the Bed of Chaos down, I decide my next stop will be the Catacombs. I don't really have a lot of memory of this place. I get lost and die a few times here, mostly to the bone wheels at the bottom. But I eventually remember I can kind of jump down through the middle here. And then I challenge Pinwheel, and I'm luckily able to beat him before he embarrasses me. So with the Tomb of Giants, I decided to wear the Sunlight Maggot. And I know I said this was going to be a naked run, but Tomb of Giants just fucking sucks. and the sunlight maggot isn't really protecting me in any way. I also have no idea how to get around here. I don't really remember anything about Tomb of Giants either. So yeah, I went with the sunlight maggot up until the 𝗟𝐿 fight. Now speaking of 𝗟𝐿, this is a boss that I've never ever had a problem with. I'm pretty sure that even on my first time playing Dark Souls, I was able to beat him like on my 3rd try. But as a level 1 character dealing like no damage, I just could not handle this fight. The skeletons alone were enough to just absolutely push my shit in. And by the time I could down one skeleton, another one would get back up. And trying to just ignore the skeletons and focus on 𝗟𝐿 didn't work, because the skeletons could apparently just attack me directly through him. Also, just another shout out to how horrible the run back is to the 𝗟𝐿 boss room. After a few failed attempts, I got pretty familiar with the run back and didn't get hit by anything. But it still took a really long time, and it still absolutely sucks. After about 20 times of losing to 𝗟𝐿, I decided to bite the bullet and go get a blessed weapon. Using the battle axe that I basically started the game with, I upgraded to, divine, not blessed. And even though I'm doing less damage, the skeletons actually stay dead, which is a huge win. So without his skeletons, it turns out 𝗟𝐿's a little bitch, and I bully him for his lunch money. That makes 2 bosses down and 2 more to go, plus 𝗁, I guess. I then head over to the archive and challenge 𝗟𝐿. 𝗟𝐞𝐃 managed to wiggle its way into the boss room, which was annoying, but I managed to take care of it with a couple fireballs. The boss itself kind of got stuck in a loop where he would just try to attack directly in front of him, and I would just swing around the backside of his tail thing and whack him with my club. 𝗟𝐿 went down on the first try, which was a huge relief after that 𝗟𝐿 fight. And now it's time to go fight the Four Kings, for real this time. So the problem with the Four Kings fight is that it's basically a DPS check. And this whole video I've been complaining about how bad my DPS is. Also, the run back to the Four Kings is probably the worst of any boss in the game ever. So I'm sure it's no surprise that I died to this boss a shitload of times. I didn't count how many times I died, but an educated guess based on the footage is around 30 times. I know I could farm the Dark Wraiths for Titanite to upgrade my club, but the drop rate was terrible, and I hate farming. I'm not really into farming, it's just not who I am. So I instead persisted with my awful damage and just tried to get good at the fight. The biggest problem I had at first was how hard the boss was hitting me through my shield. The Grass Crest shield doesn't really have a lot of magic defense, like I said during the Moonlight Butterfly fight, so I eventually had to swap it out for the Crest shield and lose that stamina bonus I was getting. But this made a huge difference, as I was now able to block the boss's attacks without having to drink right away. Eventually I found the right combination of playing defensive and playing aggressively. I was actually able to out-DPS the kings before the other ones could spawn in, which made the fight much easier and landed me the victory. Since I forgot about Priscilla, I only had one question on my mind, which was, am I going to do the DLC? And if I was confident that this video was going to get some views, then I probably would have gone and done it, no problem. But the reality is that probably nobody's going to watch this video, and I'm just going to end up torturing myself for no reason. And I'd rather eat glass than fight Manus with this fucking club. So we're off to 𝗁 in the final battle of the game. All I need to do is land the parry, and it should be smooth sailing, right? Yeah, of course it's not that easy. 𝗁 just humbles me like everybody else does in this game. I eventually switched to a parry dagger so I can have a little better parry timing. And I noticed that 𝗁 seems to have a input read when I drink my flask. So I get him stuck in this loop of him trying to attack me and me parrying him. Up until he decides to stop doing that and instant kills me. But for some reason, when I try the strategy again, it just works and 𝗁 goes down. And that's it, I've done it. I beat Dark Souls at level 1. And all it cost me was blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of time wasted running back to the boss fights, and ruined my opinion of a game I once held very dear. So I ask myself, was it worth it? Well, that depends. If you actually watched this video all the way through, then yes, it was worth it. Somebody watched it, somebody cared, I'm happy. And I'll admit I have a little bit of personal satisfaction. But I'm probably not going to touch the first Dark Souls game again for quite a while. Anyways, let me know down in the comments below if you enjoyed the run, if you'd like to see more content like this from maybe some of the other Souls games, not this one again please. If you think I suck at this and I should probably leave Dark Souls to other channels, also let me know there so I can just give up right now. Check out my Remnant videos, I promise I'm much better at that game than I am at this one. And of course consider liking this video and subscribing if you enjoy my content. It's really dumb, but it makes a huge difference with the YouTube algorithm. I know everyone says that, but it's true, it really makes a big difference. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.